When we holler, we are heard. When we whisper, we're not necessarily heard. In public relations, it's all about hollering. It's about being heard, letting people know that you're out there. By hollering, we can get business. There is a direct link between public relations and making money, making sure customers find you. I use this poem for everything. He who has a thing to sell and goes and whispers in a well is not as apt to make the dollars as he who stands on a hill and hollers. It makes sense, right? It's on the back of my business cards, it's on my website, it's on my brochures. I think this is such an important philosophy. You've got to holler to be heard. PR is all about getting customers to find you. Because if they can't find you, they can't do the three things that we know are most important in business: know, like, and trust. They have to find you in order to know you. They have to get to know you in order to like you. And they have to like you in order to trust you and therefore give you their business. So it's a really, really important concept. If you're here representing your company, trying to get more awareness for your company where you have a job, this will help you with that. If you work for a nonprofit, as many of you do, we heard that before, and you want to engage with donors, by getting information out there about your company, it'll help you do that. Some of you secretly may be looking for a job. Networking is a great way to do that. This will also help you with some strategies to holler about yourself and build up your own public relations, your own brand awareness, if you will. People often talk about advertising, marketing, and public relations. Advertising is what you pay for. Last year alone in the United States, just in the top 10 categories, fast food, soft drinks, cars, beer, $64 billion with a B, dollars was spent in advertising. I don't know about you, but I don't have that kind of money. I wish I did. If I did, I wouldn't be here tonight, okay? Unless you have a lot of money to spend on advertising, you can't really get the two most important things about advertising, which are reach and frequency. Reach, and some of you are nodding your heads, you've heard this before. Reach is who you reach, the people, the audience, who you reach. The frequency is how often you reach them. If you have one ad on the Super Bowl, you're going to reach a lot of people, but they're not going to remember it unless they see it after the Super Bowl, because there's no frequency. So unless you have a lot of money, you should really focus on public relations, which is free. So advertising is what you pay for, and publicity or public relations is what you pray for. You hope you get publicity, you hope that you get information about your product, your service, yourself. In a nutshell, advertising is paid media and public relations is earned media. Pretty simple stuff. This is an article that ran about me in the RBJ this past December. They came to me, they wanted to write about me. They had heard through word of mouth about my company. And because I have gotten, in 4 years, my company has grown tremendously. And I attribute all of it to PR and awareness. So the RBJ came to me and they said, we want to do an article about you. RBJ endorsed me by giving me this article and giving me this forum to talk about my company. I got over 50 phone calls from this article and people reaching out to me on my website from all over the country, people who used to live in Rochester who still get the RBJ, asking me to engage with them, to do seminars with them, and perhaps in certain cases to take them on as clients. What's the difference between advertising, PR, and marketing? I love this illustration. And for those of you in the back, I'm going to read it, so don't worry about it. S.H. Simmons wrote this. She is an author who has written extensively about public speaking and very, very good stuff. But she always uses illustrative examples to drive points home rather than using statistics. And this is one of them, and I think it's brilliant. Here's what she says. If a young man tells his date how handsome, smart, and successful he is, that's advertising. So he's talking about himself. He's putting an ad out there. If the young man tells his date she's intelligent, looks lovely, and is a great conversationalist, he's saying the right things to the right person. That's marketing, which is really what marketing is, knowing your audience and giving them the information that they want, getting it to the right people. But if someone else tells the young woman how handsome, smart, and successful her date is, that's PR. That's an endorsement. I think this is such a great illustration of the difference. It's very subtle, but it really drives the point home. We all know what PR is, or what we think we know what it is. It's what your company does, what you do, to engage with and create awareness for the public. It's just to get that awareness and that branding out there. What does that mean? Okay, it's getting publicity in print, in electronic print, online media, all different forms of media, creating special events. If you create special events, you are reaching out. How are you reaching out? Well, I will venture to guess that every organization that does a special event for a charity that is open to the public tries to get press for it. So you are getting information out there that, again, I'm involved with Camp Good Days, so I'm going to use them as an example for some of these things. But Finger Lakes International Wine Competition is coming up in March. I've been involved in this event every year since I've come to Rochester. It's a great event, raises a lot of awareness for Camp Good Days, a lot of articles about it, and then people sponsor it, but they're getting their word out. They're making a brand statement. So if they did the special event in a vacuum, it wouldn't do anything. So if you create special events and you want to get the media for it, that's tremendous, and that's a great opportunity. Also aligning your company with the cause and the cause-related marketing that accompanies it. If you end up working with your company for an event going on in the community or a cause going on in the community, you're aligning yourself with it. Be careful who you align yourselves with. Make sure that it's not controversial unless it's something that you really want controversy. People in business throw around the terms strategy and tactics quite a bit, not really knowing what they are. A strategy is an overarching situation, an overarching concept. A tactic is what you use to get there. In this particular illustration, the strategy is take the river. Okay, you told me to take the river because you want me to get somewhere that's at the end of the river. But you didn't tell me how to get there. Am I going to take a boat? Am I going to swim? Am I going to go in a tube? Am I going to take a helicopter and hover over and you're going to drop me off? There are a lot of different ways I can get there. So the strategy is take me to the river, and the tactic is using a boat. So that just sort of breaks it down, and it makes more sense now, I think. Some of the tactics for getting your public relations overview together are these. You can use press releases, photo opportunities, articles, events, community events, stunts, which are always great, blogging, doing guest blogging, giving people case studies, using social and digital media. They're all tactics for the overarching awareness that you want to achieve with public relations. Before you're focused on your strategy, or as you're developing your strategy, you got to ask yourself these questions. Whether it's for your company, maybe some of you here are starting a new business. You need to know who your target audience is. Who are you going to sell to? Who's going to use your product? What are their needs that you meet? Does that already exist in the marketplace? How are you different? What makes you different? What message are you trying to convey to them? Most importantly, what's the call to action? You have to know there's a difference between I want you to buy more of my stuff, or I want you to buy my stuff to begin with and try it, or I want you to stop using the competitor and only use me. It's a different call to action. Again, very subtle, but they're all different. You have to know it. And how can you be memorable, which we'll talk about in a minute. My favorite expression that makes me think of this is, If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. But you're going to be lost. Because if you don't know where you want to end up, you don't know how to get there. You really, really don't. So think about this with public relations and business in general. You've got to ask yourself these questions on an ongoing basis. So now it says, do it yourself, start hollering. If you met someone tonight who you think can help you, whether it's giving a donation to your charity or giving you an opportunity to interview for a job at their company, or having a complementary company work together with yours, start hollering. Don't let tonight end with tonight. Talk to them. If you didn't get business cards, get business cards. If you didn't plan to link in with one another, do that. Because that is how you're going to holler. That is how you're going to build your awareness. If you don't do anything, you're whispering. It's not effective. Why did you come here? You could have stayed home and watched, I don't know what's on TV tonight, but you could have stayed home. When we think about public relations, we always think about writers. And people think writers are, really, really untouchable and hard to get to. You want to make journalists, bloggers, and media professionals your friends. How do you do that? Easy. Same as you would make friends with people that you've just met. You're going to provide feedback to them that, hey, I like your necklace. Where'd you get it? Well, you're not going to tell me you like my necklace, but you're going to tell me you like my article. Take the 30 seconds or 5 minutes and Google the people that you want to write about your organization, because the information is on the internet. You can find it. Find out things that they've written about before. Also, if somebody sends me something that has my name misspelled or is addressed to Dear Mr. Sloane, because Sandy can be a man's name or a woman's name, it shows me that they did not take the time to do their homework. And I don't want to deal with them. Flattery plus food, we talked about flattery, is a recipe for success. You can post their work on your websites. Tag them. They are available. If they're in the public, they're available. I get notifications every time somebody does something with my articles, and I'm going back many, many years. When people put them up there, I find out and I say, hey, who is that? And I'll link in with them. I am flattered and happy. On the other hand, if they don't give me credit, I am really not happy. When we went to the radio stations and talked to them, and when we went to the TV stations, I brought food. I brought donuts. It made them feel really, really good. They didn't eat them. They put them out for the other people, but they remembered me. So I was hollering this way, and that's not just because I'm a Jewish mother. Anybody can bring food. Here are some thought starters. Be creative with a new angle. Find a new use for an existing product or tie into a current trend or hot topic. I got to tell you, I think the people who market vinegar are brilliant. How many of us knew that vinegar had 101 uses? It really does, and I've tried probably 50 of them. But it's good for cleaning, and it's good for your body, and it's good for washing your hair. I didn't know that, but they sell a lot more vinegar that way. The same with duct tape. I just recently read that there is a contest for making a prom dress out of duct tape. The two most boring products you can think of, vinegar and duct tape, but they have gotten so much press because their PR people are on the ball sharing information, and they're hollering about these products. Using themed topics is always a great thing. Journalists are already talking about a lot of these things. I have a logo here of the Olympics right now. You can do an Olympics at your company. Will the press cover it? Maybe. But you're going to get the bang because the PR and the awareness about your company is going to be pervasive. Even if it's only within your company, it's going to make everybody feel good. So people in your own company can evangelize for your company and say, hey, I really like working here. We just did an Olympics. It was so fun. Seasonal is always a great topic. Every year, journalists write about what they call the evergreen topics. Every single February to April, there is an article about engagement rings, about color, carat, cut, and clarity. Every single year in every single magazine and newspaper, because they know people are getting engaged. Some of the articles are recycled, but you can rest assured that there will always be an article about that. So New Year's resolutions, think about how you can tie your company into New Year's resolutions. Tax time, we just had this big tax change. If you are a company that does taxes, you can send a release about, hey, look to our company, and we can give you information. We can give expert information for your readers, your audience, your viewers, your listeners. And anything in the news. We all remember the Ice Bucket Challenge a couple of years ago. That put ALS on the map. ALS has been a terrible disease for many, many years, way before people were throwing ice in their own heads. Nobody knew about it. If you knew about it, you knew it as Lou Gehrig's disease. You guys are all too young to even know who Lou Gehrig is, but he was a Yankees player who had ALS. And that was the first kick for ALS. That's how they got some notoriety, because Lou Gehrig's name was associated with the disease. But the Ice Bucket Challenge, you've all heard of ALS now, and you didn't before. A lot of you didn't hear of ALS before the Ice Bucket Challenge. So if it's timely and topical, you're going to get press. Thanks to BuzzFeed, we no longer do top 10 lists. We do 6, we do 12, we do 9, we do 7. That makes it more interesting, and as I said, we're going to get to this in a second, memorable. Everybody can do 10, but it's white noise. We're so used to the top 10. We're used to things in 10s, 20s. We're not used to 11 steps. So you notice it. So you can also say, hey, we have a tax specialist in our office who can give 6 steps to making sure that the IRS doesn't get more of your paycheck than you want it to. Make it memorable. Be different. Again, charitable tie-ins, we talked about that a little before. Kids and critters. Children and animals are always wonderful. Press is pretty easy for you versus other entities, okay? Use it. Use it to your advantage. And if you don't have kids or critters, but you have a store and you have a store location, have an adoption day at your store, and you'll get press about it. Somebody's going to write about it, even if you're not a pet store, because you're a good guy or a good gal offering your location to help animals. Have competitions. We did, when I was working at a radio station in New York City, we did the world's sexiest man. Trust me, it was not our DJ Broadway Bill Lee, but we voted him. But there was no competition. We sort of made it up. And we made him the world's sexiest, not man, but the world's sexiest DJ. We got a lot of press. The world's sexiest DJ is Broadway Bill Lee. He definitely had a face for radio, folks. But he was a really, really good guy, and we wanted to get information out about him. If you're going to do something where you want TV to come, you want photographers to come, use the ATV method. Always think visually. I had done something, I was called in last year or the year before for a charity to help them. They had a Wizard of Oz themed event. I was called in at the last second, and I mean the last second, about a week before, to try to help them get press. And I'm good, but I'm not a miracle worker because there was hardly any time. So I said, okay, well, it's a Wizard of Oz theme. Where can they see the people in costumes? What costumes? I said, it's a Wizard of Oz theme. Do you have a yellow brick road? No. So what do you do? Well, we called it Wizard of Oz. I said, I can't get TV there. They're going to just be filming people walking in regular outfits with no costumes. There was no visual component. The event did okay, but they did not get the kind of press that they should have gotten because the TV said, what am I going to film? So think about that. And again, in your strategy. And to be remarkable. I don't know if anybody here familiar with Seth Godin and Purple Cow? Okay, just a couple of you. I want you guys to go on Amazon and buy this book. You can buy it used for $3 and change. This is the best book of any book in marketing and PR and awareness building. It is called Purple Cow. The reason Seth Godin wrote this book this way was because of this. When we're going down the road and we see cows, we look, we're driving, we see, oh, okay, cows. Some of us, like me, go, meh, and that's it. We keep going, right? Because we see them all the time. But if we saw a purple cow, you know that we're going to be texting people, calling, oh my God, I saw a purple cow. What is that? Oh, that was the coolest thing ever. Because it was remarkable. It was different. So when he wrote this book, it says, Purple Cow, transform your business by being remarkable. Challenging, smart thinking, lots of great examples, a must read, is what Marketing Magazine said about him. This is not sideways. This is the way the book is. It opens this way. That's different. You remember it. He's brilliant. And it's an easy read. I really encourage you to get it. And if you don't want to buy it, you can get it at the library. It's almost 20 years old. He's sold over 1 million copies. It's a great book. Because being remarkable helps you go from ordinary to extraordinary. And I'll show you the next slide in a second. This was a client of mine in Fort Lauderdale. Diana Clark is her name. And she had 2 little girls, lived in Fort Lauderdale, on the beach a lot, right? You need sunscreen. You need sunscreen all the time, especially on little kids' skin. Her little girls, kicking and screaming, wouldn't let her put that sunscreen on. But she started noticing, so she didn't always put it on, and they would get burned, and she would feel bad, and they would be angry, and it was a big mess. She noticed that when they played dress up, they loved anything having to do with glitter. So she said, strange idea. I wonder if I could put glitter in the sunscreen, which is exactly what she did. She created Sparkle Screen with glitter in it. But it's FDA approved, it is safe, it's all natural, it's pink for the girls. Again, not to be sexist, but it is pink for the girls, and she does have something in green and blue for the boys called Jungle Screen that also has glitter in it. When the glitter stops showing, it's time to reapply it. And the kids want it reapplied. This is genius. I got her press. We were on every national television news program. If you look up Sparkle Screen, you will see her. She has since become a very wealthy woman. It's a cool product, but she took a different approach. She took something that was really boring and made it cool. She made it extraordinary. So when you're writing your press releases and pitch letters, include a customized query to the journalist or whoever you're sending it to. Do not say to whom it may concern. Again, take the few minutes on Google and find out who you're sending something to. Do not say to whom it may concern. Spell their names correctly. Do not, as I call it, spray and pray. Do not just send it out and hope that they're going to cover it. Follow up, but don't get annoying. Do not call the journalist and say, did you get my press release? Maybe, I got 300 press releases this week. They are just going to be irritated, and they will remember you. You don't want to be remembered that way. Proofread and fact check. With the internet, everything we all know lives forever. If you make a mistake and it is printed, that will be the legacy that you leave behind. It will never go away. Fact check and proofread, and do not spell anything incorrectly. The worst PR story of not proofreading came when I was working at the Multiple Sclerosis Society in Los Angeles. This is a long time ago, folks. This is before the internet. Oh my gosh, this was in the early 80s. We were doing an awards ceremony, and we were honoring one of our volunteers because he was really, really great. I had just started working there. I had nothing to do with this program. But the person who wrote the program, she proofread it, but too few people who were too close to the subject proofread it. And they missed something. And what they missed was pretty significant. What they missed was this. He was being honored for his outstanding public service. The program said he was being honored for his outstanding pubic service. okay? The guy was such a good sport about it. He got up on stage and he said, it's embarrassing. And it said it in the program, in writing. And he got up on stage and said, well, my wife tells me I'm good, but I never thought I'd get an award for it. And it was great. Don't make those kinds of mistakes, because that's not a good thing. And you want to include all of the information very, very close to the front. Here are some press release rules for when you're writing a press release. Make your headline irresistible, be upfront with your information, include a great quote from someone in your company, and make the who and what obvious. So this was a very, very famous headline from the New York Post, headless body and topless bar. And the subhead is, gunman forces woman to decapitate tavern owner. This was from the 80s. I'm not telling you to make a headline like this. I'm saying that you have one shot to get it right, make it memorable, and make it irresistible. Be upfront with your info. Don't make journalists who are getting so many different press releases dig and dig and dig to get your most important information. Put it up front. Put it in the headline. Include a great quote from someone from your company. Don't have 12 quotes. One quote is good. Have one quote and then look at your quote. Make sure these statements are true in what you write. If I delete this quote, the reader won't be able to understand the significance or context of the news, meaning keep it in there. And if I delete this quote, I'll have to rewrite other parts of the release to restore lost information and insight. Make sure it's in there. Okay? So if you say yes, and these are both true, your quotes are good. If it's fluff, take them out. Press releases should not be longer than a page, 2 pages max. Remember that brevity is everything, less is more when it comes to this. They just want the information. If they're interested and you've made it interesting for them up front, they'll contact you if they want more. Where to get exposure? You guys have all been waiting for this. There are lots of places to get exposure. Letters to the editor is a great place to get exposure, and op-eds. They are looking for content. A lot of people don't send in information. Again, using Camp Good Days as an example, the Cancer 2020 mission to wipe out cancer by the year 2020, they can write a small letter to the editor of the DNC about their initiative, tie it into something, it will get printed. There are industry-specific trade journals. If you have not researched it, do a Google search. They're all out there. Local papers, e-zines. And once you get the press, keep PDF copies in both hard copy and electronic copy. If you go to my website, which hopefully some of you will after tonight, you'll see that 3 of the more recent articles about me are in there. And I also have them printed out so that when I mail copies to people, I can hand them these PDFs and they can keep them. Okay, this is the most important slide of tonight for all of you looking for information. Anybody hear of HARO? Nobody. Okay.
I have.
You have. HARO, which stands for Help a Reporter Out. Every single one of you needs to go back to your office, and if you are starting a business, especially do this, get on this subscription list. It is free, F-R-E-E, free and invaluable. What this is, it's a website where journalists come and they say, I am looking for a source, exactly, I am looking for a source for XYZ. And then they give their information about what they are looking for. And I'll give you a couple of examples of how this works. You then read it, say, I have a company that makes natural food for babies. I'm going to send in 3 sentences with my contact information, and you're going to hope that they contact you. You're not really contacting them directly because it's going through HARO, because HARO then charges the journalist, so that's their model. But so you can't really get to the journalist himself or herself, but so if you don't hear back, it just means they didn't select you. But if they select you, they're going to use you. They're going to use you as a subject matter expert in whatever the publication is. I have been quoted in magazines and newspapers all over the country. One time, not for such good reasons, I had a client, a local client, who didn't pay me. A pretty frustrating thing for a small business owner. And the query was, how do freelancers, consultants, and small business owners handle not being paid? So I wrote back to her, this journalist, and I didn't name the company, but I told her what was going on, and she contacted me. And then she worked for AP. So my information didn't really help my company, but I was really mad at this guy. So it ended up in 72 newspapers and magazines around the country. Media Kitty is another one that's free. PRNewsWire.com, if you're not a big company, don't pay for it because it's really expensive. I don't pay for it. Electronic media, this is also really important, guys, especially locally. If you are looking for local coverage, and I have all of my clients have been on TV and radio. You can buy local radio and TV commercials at odd times, but again, going back to the expense, it's not probably the most bang for your buck. And some of the media personalities, especially for the nonprofits, if the nonprofit has a tie directly to the individual who is the media endorser, he or she may do stuff for you for free. Following up, make sure to send email thank you notes immediately. Mail handwritten notes if you have their addresses, because it breaks through the clutter of emails. Next to doing the right thing, the most important thing is to let people know you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing because you're a good person, but you also should be getting some recognition for it. Volunteer, work with charities, get involved, sponsor something even like the softball uniforms. Stop and Shop, that's a supermarket in the Boston area. Every time anybody sees these jerseys, they know that the kids got it from Stop and Shop, and it makes you feel positive. Are you going to shop there? Maybe if it's a choice between that and the Star Market for you, you might shop there because you have a kid who plays baseball and you feel good about it. You can give in-kind donations. I give a lot of stuff. I don't have a lot of money, so I give tchotchkes. I give premium items out to companies that need them, and I will also do some of these seminars for free for nonprofits. But believe in the cause. If it's something that you're not interested in, don't do it because you won't come across as authentic. And this is Camp Good Days Tour de Teddy, and this is some of the sponsors they had in 2016. All of these companies may have given free media from Fickle. They may have given free bike tune-ups. I don't really know what they did, but I know that they're part of Camp Good Days, and it really helps them to be affiliated with such a positive organization. And this was just another example. Delta Sonic and Applebee's in Erie County worked with the SPCA. So they did a program with them. Everybody benefits. You can pay a PR pro like me to holler for you. You can do a lot of it yourself. Don't pay if you don't have the money. But you've got to evaluate your own skill set, where you're good, where you might need some extra help, and then hire others to fill in. Maybe you're not a great writer. I'm a great writer. Sandy, I need you to write a press release. But I have the contacts with all of the different radio stations, TV stations, newspapers, and magazines, so I just want you to write the press release. I'll do the distribution. Great, okay. So I'll do the writing, and by hiring me and paying me $500 to do a press release for you, it's going to save you 20 hours because you can't write and you don't know how to write for them. And I'm not saying that's the case with all of you. I'm giving you an example. Figure out what you can do, what you can't do, and then pay somebody to do the rest. Because time is money, and it's your time and your money.